All right, so I want you to consider this kind of like an addendum or an appendix to the blog that we wrote at the Hip-Hoppreneur.com, why the actor is surpassing the rapper, why the rapper is being surpassed by the actor and the actress. Now, I'm going to make this to the point. Essentially, with the rise of social media, more senses are being hit, obviously, which you could get across through text. And then audio is not going to be as effective when the camera has become the pen. And we'll talk about the camera as the pen, the new pen, in some future broadcasts, blogs, and turning on the camera. But essentially, rap has become too much about the rapper and not enough about the rapper in the context of a surrounding or in relationship to other people. People want connection now, a little bit more than individual significance. And in an era where I can turn on the microphone and broadcast my words on social media or through streaming platforms, it's no longer unique that one individual has the ability to go into a studio and with a whole bunch of added production and added value, become a star with what could be a unique story, but a whole lot of special effects around it. Now anybody can do this. And so two things have happened that have displaced the hip hop artists. One, their ability to be the spokesperson or the representative of a subculture that was previously unknown or hidden or ignored. And two, the unique ability to have their individual personality projected. Now anyone can do that. So in that light, what makes a person authentic is not the ability to just be seen by a lot of people while other people can't be seen. It has to be some type of an alignment. So at Hip-Hoppreneur, we focus on brand alignment. That's the relationship between your image, your reputation, and your brand, and then taking that once it's aligned and putting you in a position to represent a cause, a company, or a community. So I want to talk a little bit about J-Lo and a little bit about what's happening as was evidenced through the movie Hustlers, which I went to see. So rapping about what you did is authentic, but if you keep rapping about that over time, it's not. And so at some point, if the rapper can make a transition into another art form where they can be more than just grow out of the persona that they have created through their own lyrics and body of work, then they go to another level. Tupac did it, Ice Cube did it, J-Lo did it, Latifah did it, many people did it. To some degree early on, Tretch did it. But the advantage now is that the actor, the actress, and the documentarian has more resources to do today what the rapper used to do yesterday. And that is take a subculture and describe it for a mass audience that was previously unaware of it in an intriguing way. So what Hustlers did was it took the subculture of dancing, the stripper subculture, which many people didn't know about, and on some levels only have thought about it on a regional level. So what goes on in Atlanta in that world is not the same as what goes on in New York, and some of it has to do with the clientele. Some cities you have business persons that are more the patrons of establishments like that. In other places it's the athlete or the entertainer. In other cities it's political figures. In New York tends to be the financial community that has the most money. So what the genius really of Hustlers was, and J-Lo, why she was so authentic in it, was because as a native New Yorker, what she really channeled to me was not the obvious bait and the hook of the sensuality of the dancer's lifestyle and what strippers do, but it was the ability to contextualize that in New York culture. So hip hop may have been the fourth or fifth most important element in the storyline, the music. You have what goes on with the women, what they suffer, what they endure, their deep understanding of the psychology of men. Then there's what drives the men to those establishments. So the movie took you inside of not just the subculture of the dancing, but the nexus point of where the two worlds meet. So that to me is the key. Not every single rapper turned actor would have been able to play that role. That would have had to have been someone from that area who could just pick up little nuances and convey that. The only other person I can compare it to that when I thought about it was Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood. I think that, you know, his understanding of LA, gang culture, neighborhood life, culture of the neighborhood, all of that in the context of LA and hip hop, I think made his character and the way that he portrayed that storyline authentic. I don't think anyone, there could have been other rappers from LA, obviously, who could have had that kind of authenticity, but he pulled that off in Boys in the Hood the way that J-Lo pulled it off in Hustlers. So what's the takeaway for entrepreneurs and artists from what we wrote in the blog and the example of what J-Lo has established? By the way, that role in that movie, and I do believe she will win some type of an award, Academy Award, it has also served as a catalyst to reboot her musical career. Watch that. So it's almost like a feedback loop. What you do as an artist in one realm makes you more magnetic in another. So the takeaway for entrepreneurs and artists, the best ideas and concepts, whether it be creatively or in a business, which is, we see it as the same way in Hip-Hoppreneur. We'll talk about that more in the future. But the best ideas and concepts are bids on your own experience. So your authenticity comes from your ability to have the most detail combined with the most confidence, combined with the most credibility. And so every one of us has that in our life. There's some aspect of our background, our story, our skill, our expertise, something in our being and in our relationship to other people that makes us credible, authentic, and really experts with a mastery and a command of detail that's impressive, second to none. So that's where you find your sweet spot, a bid on your own experience or your own makeup, something in your background. Second, connection to community matters more than individual significance. This is one of the more difficult things for artists to deal with right now. If you listen to most rap albums still, every Friday, every Tuesday, I try to listen to the new albums. Most of the hip hop albums is still somebody talking about themselves in a, not in a contextual way, but in a vain, superficial way. Does not mean that that's not an effective way to create and market yourself. But again, when anybody can talk about themselves, it's going to be harder and harder to have an interesting story based upon something superficial or braggadocious or vain. So connection to community, your ability to talk about relationships, your ability to put yourself in the setting with other people to talk about the fabric of a society is increasingly more valuable. And again, you need the camera more and more to do that. So the question I leave you all with, as you think about what J-Lo has accomplished, as you think about what's happening to hip hop, why music continues to lose some of its share in terms of its influence in pop culture on one level while it gains it in another. It adds meaning, but it doesn't drive conversation as much. What's your ultimate story / business idea? What's the one thing in your background and your idea that connects you with community, that you bring a unique perspective to, and that everyone would stand in awe if it were fully developed? One of the most frustrating things in life is to be typecast. And that often comes from not having told your own story or being weaved into the narrative of someone else's story, and they have the power to project it more effectively than you do. Well, the easiest way to get out of that paradigm, or to be get out of that quicksand of going nowhere, so to speak, and becoming more bitter and frustrated, is to know exactly what it is about yourself that's unique. And that's internal and external in relationship to other people. So at the Hip-Hoppreneur, we have something called the Kinship Power Plane, where we go through 50 areas, 50 points, 50 questions that connect you with the fabric of your background, your kith and kin. And in an era where connection matters more than individual significance, the more points of contact that you can have that are relevant and can relate, that people can relate to, that are relevant to others, the more attractive and magnetic you'll be, and the more likely you are to have an opportunity to take advantage of different fields of endeavor, different walks of life. So I'm gonna turn the camera off. Again, yeah, I think J-Lo's gonna win something. But the success is not in the sensuality. I know a lot of people may have felt disappointed in the role that she played, but what it truly was she was a native New Yorker. She's an entertainer, and she understood as a woman what that is like, how the men look at the women. So I could go on and on and on. There were nuances that she was able to bring out uniquely that make for a success. Cedric Muhammad, CEO, thehiphoppreneur.com, turning the camera off.